Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am drawing Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. This has been a pretty exciting one because I just love the character, it's adorable and it's pretty great for memes. So to start off, I'm actually using some of my mixed media card. This is the brand Reeves. I love this stuff because it's pretty affordable, but it also takes two copic markers, pencils, and watercolor pretty well. So that's actually what I'm using today. I'm using a mix of different medias. I'm using mainly copics to start with, and then I'm going to be using a little bit of colored pencils over the top for details and texture and that kind of thing. And we're also going to use a little bit of watercolor for the background as well, because I have a pretty good idea for what I want to do the background. So to start off, as you see, I have done a little bit of a sketch mainly with a brown colored pencil. Now I did this very lightly and minimally so that I didn't have to actually erase much at all. And yeah, I actually went over the top of that with my copic markers, as you can see, and I'm sort of doing it in a slightly more realistic art style than what I usually do. Usually I do like to do, you know, heavy line art and sort of a comic booky style, but this time I wanted to try and do a little bit more realism, or at least semi-realism, just to sort of enhance that cuteness but also make it look more sort of similar to the original. So for the color choices, I'm actually using a mix of different colors to color in Baby Yoda. Some colors which you would obviously expect, like green, but other colors as well, sort of like light yellows and warm grays, that kind of thing, and a little bit of pink here and there. And yeah, those are the colors that I'm actually using, because with a sort of more realistic style, you do want to mix different colors in different areas, like the shadows, the highlights, and just different parts, because it ends up looking a bit more realistic that way, and you end up getting to sort of push the depth and highlights just a bit more, and it's pretty fun. So some of the colors that I actually used were, there was a pea green, there was a light grayish cobalt, there was a sort of a greeny yellow, what is it called? Yellow green, duh. But there's also a few different colors like bush and some really sort of dark warm grays as well that I sort of mixed in there to sort of, you know, push sort of shadows and stuff. I did have to layer up some different colors because I didn't have the perfect colors for this sort of drawing, but that's something that's great about Copics, is that you can sort of layer colors up and sort of change the colors and, you know, change what they look like to get what you want. So for Baby Yoda's clothes, I mainly did use a bunch of warm grays, mainly the darkest ones, but I also mixed in a little bit of pale yellow along with some Prussian blue, a little bit of special black, which is a warmer hue of black. And yeah, just sort of mixed colors around and tried to get it to look sort of soft but still textured, as if it was like the clothes that Baby Yoda wears. So after I got the layers of the Copics down that I liked on Baby Yoda, I decided to go in with my colored pencils to sort of add more to it, because as I said earlier in the video, this is a mixed media illustration and I really love doing this sort of method because it helps me sort of get the best of like all the worlds, if that makes sense. I can sort of layer up different colors of Copics and then move on to sort of color pencils to sort of add texture, extra highlights, extra shadows, and just like little details here and there. And yes, that's what I'm doing at the moment. So with the clothes, I am using a lot of white and black and that kind of thing, just to add a little bit of texture to make it look a bit more like cloth. And with Baby Yoda, I'm just adding some more sort of shadows and highlights and just sort of trying to refine the edges and make the details look more enhanced. So for the background, I went with a layer of burnt umber, which is the sort of dark, warm brown color that I wanted to use. and I sort of used a bit of a reference for this. It was mainly the picture where he's sort of looking up and you can see a bit of a planet behind him, but obviously I changed it because I didn't want to just copy. But yeah, I used that sort of dark color for the base, and then after this I went over with a few more colors just to sort of add a bit of a shadow and highlights and just hue shifts here and there. Those colors I mainly used were a bit of cardinal, along with also a bit of Prussian blue, a little bit of black here and there, and also some Carib cocoa, which is a sort of lighter, softer brown. And this was just so I could, you know, add a little bit of texture and highlights and that kind of thing, just to add it, you know, a little bit more interest. After this I also did the exact same thing with some colored pencils, mainly just to add a few more highlights here and there, and also texture, because with these sort of mixed media illustrations I just really enjoy adding texture to these drawings. So now this is the time for the background, and I had a pretty good idea for what I wanted to do for the background. Obviously this is a Star Wars thing, so of course I have to do a galaxy. Now it's been a while since I've actually used watercolor for galaxies, and it's something I really love doing with watercolor, mainly because with watercolor you kind of don't have a lot of control and you can just add colors, and because it's all wet and, you know, watery like watercolor is, the colors sort of mix and blend and sort of bleed into each other, and you get some really cool effects that work so well for galaxies. And by doing this I actually sort of do a layer where I would, you know, add different colors and let them sort of mix in a wet on wet sort of technique, and then I'll actually let it dry and do the same thing over the top just to build up colors. After this I decided to go in with a method for stars that I don't often do. I will use a bit of paint splatter. I'll sort of mix up a bit of wet paint and sort of tap the brush to make it sort of splatter in these stars, and I really like how it sort of goes random, and it's a really quick and easy way to get like a sort of star texture. After this I went back over with my coloured pencils just to add a few more details here and there, mainly the sort of very fine light hairs on Baby Yoda, and also just add a little bit more sort of highlights and stuff just to sort of make it pop and make it look really good. And it is complete! So here are the final results, and I absolutely love this. I think it's super cute. The colors turned out really good, and who doesn't love a good watercolor galaxy background? You know I love them a lot. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know below if you like Baby Yoda, if you've watched The Mandalorian. I can't wait to get into episodes of that. It's going to be super exciting. And anyways, please smash like, subscribe to get your scribble fix in the future, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.